Hello. How's everyone doing this morning? We have a special visitor.
Oh, and she's mad.
She's a little shy.
She's mad.
She's not feeling it.
We stopped by the office, so I had to come on and say hi.
Yeah, and I'm blaming Sarah for my countdown timer saying week 4 because I was very distracted with good things.
Yeah.
Look, they're like the baby.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
here's Abigail. She's not feeling it. There's a lot of lights shining on her right now. Look at her little red, white, and blue outfit. Hi, baby.
Okay, she's getting mad. I guess I should go. They're
Well, I'm
kicking me
glad
out
you
now.
stopped by.
Yes. All right.
She's not here to stay.
No.
She's still on maternity leave, but we wanted to. Oh, now she spit up.
Oh. Yeah. Comes with the territory.
We're
of the
all
delivery.
nervous on our first live. So.
All right. I'll let you guys get to
All right. Now we'll get to
Now
we'll get to business. But we were excited to get to see Abigail and Sarah and her husband Adam today. So okay.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. And I think that they like seeing Abigail
Yeah.
and Sarah too.
Yeah, I think so.
Speaking of Sarah actually designed Poppies and Petals. Oh, they know the name. Okay. I didn't give anything. Poppies and Petals, which is our next workshop that's happening Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So Sarah, even though she's on maternity leave and home resting other than coming in to just visit us today, she actually did a design that is coming out this week.
Yeah. And so since she's still on maternity leave, you're stuck with me, but it's a beautiful design. So you'll have to join us again on Wednesday. Bye, Sarah.
And if you're going to get stuck with someone, this is the lady to get stuck with because she knows how to do it. So, okay. So we are on week 5.
We are.
And I wasn't here last week, but I heard there was a big reveal.
Yes, there was.
And I think they liked it.
We revealed the whole thing last week. And then behind us is the whole thing of the blue and white one. You can see it's still in pieces. We got a quarter here, and the other half here. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to pin the blocks together, how to join it. We're going to go over, before we do all that, and I actually do it, we're going to go over the instructions, a document called Putting It All Together that is in your week 5 folder. Another thing in your week 5 folder is also a quilt label. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll show you that. So I think Aubrey will get started by looking at this document. We can all look at this together.
And it's super small on the screen, but it's in your file.
It is in your file. So you can see that there's rows. So your first row at the top is your border, and then your next row, and your third and your fourth row. And basically you're going to sew everything in that row together. And then you're going to sew everything in the next row until you get all your blocks sewn together into rows. And then for pressing, you are going to press each of those seams in each row in opposite directions. So for instance, on that border row, if you press all those seams to the right, the next row, you're going to press them all to the left. So they're all alternating seams. Makes it easier to fit them and pin them together and sew them together once you sew a quarter section together. So you're basically going to do that 4 times. So the quilt is symmetrical. So you've got 4 of those, which you can see at the bottom of this document. So when you complete all those, then you can join them together. Let's go on to the next page. And then you can see you're going to sew them all together in a half, which is what we have here. We have half of it here, and then we still have a quarter of it here to sew it together. So once you sew this seam together, obviously you're going to sew that seam together. We're going to talk a little bit about pressing. And Janet, if you're listening, if you can grab on my ironing board the strip stick and bring it in here.
Oh, we forgot the strip stick.
I forgot to bring that in here. And that's something I wanted to talk about, pressing. If you have wool in your quilt, you will definitely want to be making sure you have a strip stick, or I can give you an alternate thing, like a rolling pin from your kitchen.
Mhm.
I like parchment
Yeah.
paper rolling pins.
Yeah,
so,
why not, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a timely question.
Mhm. Can you press the seams open? Jane, I absolutely, you can press the seams open. Thank you, Janet. You can press the seams open. I think most quilters are used to one side, alternating seams because it does help lock those seams together. But there have been times, Jane, when there's been a lot, like some of the applique is also in the seams, where it makes it kind of bulky to press it to one side, in which case I definitely will press something like that open. So if you feel more comfortable pressing them open, then Jane, you do that. That's perfectly fine.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, you got another question there?
Well, sometimes when I try to click one off, they are coming in quickly and then I miss. I hit the wrong thing because it moves on me. But
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So I think we're going to go ahead, Aubrey, and I'm going to use this camera and I'm going to pull these down from here and I'm going to show you how to pin this one to this one. So let me remove these pins from here and then we'll flip over to the cutting table. It's kind of fun having a little visit from the baby.
Yes. She's a cutie.
She is a cutie. She's very content. Sarah says that she's alert. However, the last couple times I've been at their house,
I said she's alert. Did Sarah say it too?
Sarah has said it too.
I thought so.
But
Oh,
we can hear her crying from the other room. But when I've been there, she's always been sleeping. She's always been passed out. So anyhow, so here are our two halves, as you can see, and you're just going to put the right sides together like this. So we have a pinning technique, which I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with, but I'm going to go through it anyway, just in case somebody is new to us. This was pressed probably a few months ago. It probably needs another pressing, but we call this pinning technique the anchor pinning technique. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to pin everywhere that we would see like a match point. So our match points would be the corners. There's going to be a match point in the seams, and there's going to be a match point where these flowers are. There's also going to be match points where these stitched seams are stems, vines, whatever. So there'll be match points there. So look at your quilt and decide where your match points are. So I'm going to start out by taking my first pin on my first match point, and I'm going to put it right through the corner there. And then I'm going to put it through the corner on the piece that's behind it. And then we're just going to leave that pin there. What that does is it holds your quilt pieces in place so they aren't shifting this way or that way. And that way, when you stitch that seam, you know that it's going to stitch exactly from this basting stitch onto the next basting stitch. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this anchor pin, we're going to leave it so it's sticking straight out here. Hopefully they can see that. We did not bring it back through. We're going to do that in a minute with another pin. So our next anchor point or match point would be where these two little diamond areas are meeting. And I'm going to take a second pin and I'm going to peek in there. It's a little off, so this is where you can make an adjustment. That looks good. And then I'm going to pin it in the same spot on the other one, right on that basting stitch. And again, this is going to be an anchor pin that we are not going to put through there. Trying to get a little shine on there so they can see that, but there's pins coming out right there. So right here where my first anchor pin is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my other pin, a second pin, right by the first anchor pin, and I'm putting it right through the seam allowance. So just the fabric, because we had trimmed it with a trimmer by George, put it through that seam allowance and then back through the quilt. So, and then I can remove my anchor pin, and that helps hold everything exactly in place right on that basting stitch. So I'm going to move on down the line. We have a lot of pinning in this one to do. Usually when we do lives, we don't have that much pinning. This one has a match point where the seam is, and real close to it is also the satin stitch. So really we're just going to pin right through that seam. And then I'm going to take another pin and pin just through the fabric, the seam allowance, and then back through the block. Then you can remove that pin. I forgot to put a pin right here where my second anchor pin was. All right, I'm just going to move on down the line. When I get to this area, you can see that there is the vines here, stitched here, and also here. I think that would make another great anchor point because you want to definitely make those match. And just make sure you have it where you want it, and then you can go to the section on the other side. So there's my anchor pin sticking straight out through there. And then I can take my pin that will stay there. And again, it goes through just the fabric. Because if you were to take a pin and try and put it through all that bulk and then back through again, you're going to have that shifting happening. Matter of fact, we used to have a video or something where we talked about shift happens.
Yeah.
So yes, it does. And that's why this anchor pin technique is great. Here's another area where we have our little vine. So I'm going to put my anchor pin through the vine and then through the end of the vine on the other one. And the anchor pin is right on the basting stitch at the match point. And there my anchor pin is sticking straight through. And then I can take my permanent pin and put it right next to it. I'm just going to quickly go down the line. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them right now. I should have probably pressed this piece that hasn't been pressed in a while. But again, I'm just going to try and do this a little quicker while continuing to explain. And if Aubrey sees any questions, we'll just go ahead and answer them. So
Not yet.
Okay, so there's my anchor pin and then my permanent pin through just the fabric and then back through the block. I'll remove that anchor pin. This piece here does not have as much to match. So what I like to do is I like to go in here and I'm going to match the seam, the next seam, and then I'm going to put one right in the center. This is a little 5-inch block, so probably just one in the center is all that really would be necessary. Whoops, that's a terrible job. Okay, that is right on where it needs to be. And then same on the other side. There's my anchor pin. I'll put my other pin through the seam allowance and then through the block. So the 5-inch blocks, you probably only need one pin in there if there's no match points. The 8-inch blocks, you might want to put one or two more than that in there. So now I am to this section and I'm going to put my anchor pin right here. So I'm going to put it right there. That's pretty good. I'm going to put it in the same spot on the block behind it, the section behind it. Leave my anchor pin sticking out, and then I can put a more permanent pin, semi-permanent pin in there. And then I am going over here to do the same thing, get that corner match point, and then I can put a permanent pin in there. So that is our pinning technique that works wonders. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I am going to stitch right on top that basting stitch. And I have just a white thread in the needle and a white thread in the bobbin. And I'm going to sew right on top that basting stitch. I know it's white on white, so it's a little bit more difficult to see. Right on top that basting stitch. So I'm going to go over there and do that right now. All right. I also have my walking foot, and I have a dual walking foot on this machine. So I made sure my machine is set up properly for the dual walking foot. And I think I'll take my shoes off. Okay, so you're going to, like I said, you're going to sew right on that basting stitch. And where's the end of my thread? I like to start in like 1/4 inch. And then I like to go backwards. And then forward again. That locks the stitches in and it makes it easy to begin sewing. I never sew over my pins. I'm sewing right on the basting stitch. I'm removing a pin before I get there. Sew right on the basting stitch. Almost there. Okay. Okay. And I did back up in the end, so I did like a back stitch to secure that seam on the end. And so here is how you can see how everything is matching really nice. And then I would go over and I would press it, and I'm going to show you what to use if you are using wool in the seam. Okay, so here is the seam that we just stitched together. I'm going to flip this upside down. This little guy is called a strip stick, and it's basically a wooden dowel that is cut in half lengthwise, and then it has a nice fabric cover over the top of it that has a slight bit of padding to it. And basically, if you use wool, if you remember preparing your wool, how it always, you have to press the edges because it flattens it. If you have wool in your quilt and you go to press that seam without the strip stick, you're going to end up flattening all that wool that you see here in the seam. We don't really want to do that because then you'll lose some of the dimension, which is the whole reason for using the wool in the first place.
Why put it in if you're just going to iron it flat?
Right. So what we do is we use the strip stick, and I'm not going to iron it because I'm just not going to iron it. But I'm going to talk about it.
I don't know that they saw that you put that under there.
Okay. Yeah, they probably didn't. So this strip stick, I'm going to slide right underneath the seam that I'm going to be pressing. You can see it sticking out over here on the other side. And then you're going to press the seams to one side. And the great thing about this is that you're going to use just the tip of your iron to press that seam down. And with that strip stick underneath it, you're only touching, the hot iron's only touching the part that's already been pressed and prepped. So it won't flatten your wool, and you'll still have all that dimension that the quilting brings out of the wool. Then I like to use like a Mary Ellen spray starch to help keep that in place. It's kind of like hairspray for my hair. I like hairspray too. And then I will flip it over to this side, and I'll make sure that whichever way I pressed it, this side or that side, or if you pressed it open, I will make sure that my strip stick is underneath it with the seam going the right way. And then I will press it from the front as well. So that would be, I'm just finger pressing right now as we go, but that would be how you would go ahead and press your seams so that you don't damage anything.
How pretty.
Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now I'm going to talk about, I'm going to try and show backing up here.
Can I ask a question before we move on to backing?
Yes, you can.
I saw this question over on YouTube from Jana that says, can you demonstrate? And I know we're not prepared to demonstrate because we don't have that, but maybe you can talk through the border with the cornerstone. I think she's wondering about joining the corners.
Oh, okay. I think, Aubrey, if we want to bring this document back up, or this is the putting it all together document, and we'll go to the first page, and hopefully this will answer your question. You can see the borders up there, the very top is your top border, and you can see the cornerstone is there. That's how you would lay your quilt out, and you will have 4 of these laid out. And so you'd sew your border at the top along with your cornerstone there on the left, and then the next row down you would take another border block and sew that row together. So you would sew these in 4 quadrants, and they'll be identical except for maybe where your fabric placement and stuff like that. But that's how you would sew all your blocks together with the borders and the cornerstones.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. While we're here, let's just flip over to the last page of this document. which all of you will have. So this is what I'm going to attempt to explain. I'll talk about it here, but then I'll also try and explain it behind us here where we have that. So basically you're going to take, when you get your blocks sewn together on the top, we tell you what size to have your backing fabric. I like to have it an inch or two wider than what the actual quilt is. And you're basically going to take that backing piece and you're going to lay it, you're going to take the backing piece and you're going to put it so that the right side is down on your cutting board or wherever you're laying it out. And then you'll smooth that out. Sometimes if it's large, maybe you might want to tape those edges so it's nice and taut. But if it's something smaller, you don't always have to tape it. That'll be entirely up to you. And then you will take your quilt, the wrong side of your quilt, you'll lay that right on top of it. So basically your backing fabric and your quilt have wrong sides together. You will smooth out your quilt top. And I like to put pins right in the middle of each block. And I like to put the pins there because what you're going to do after you get up with your quilt safety pins and you get all those in there is in the seam, you're going to stitch in the ditch using a serpentine stitch. So now I'm going to make Aubrey change cameras again. And we're going to actually go back here. Let me take this down. And bending pins like crazy. Oh, okay. All right. You want to hold that for a moment? So this is, I've got my little piece of backing fabric here. And you don't have to show it.
Oh, I thought you want this camera, so I thought you wanted me to show it.
So if this was, now I know we're doing it on the wall. You're obviously probably going to do it on a cutting board or countertop or table or something, but you're going to lay your backing fabric out just like this. And you're going to make sure it's nice and smooth. Did I pin you?
No, I hit my elbow on the shelf.
Like that would be rude. Okay, but you're going to just make sure it's nice and smooth. So, and I got some thread up here.
And don't do it on a wall. Don't do what you're doing.
Don't do what I'm doing. Do what I tell you to do and what is in the instructions. So you're going to have your backing fabric. And this is the backing fabric. This is the right side is towards whatever you have it laying on. And we're also going to pretend that my quilt is sewn together. I still have one more seam to go. But you will then take your quilt, and just have even amounts at the top and bottoms and sides of your backing fabric. Oh, I just stuck myself. We got a nice bent pin here. And you're going to take your quilt and you have the wrong side of your backing fabric to the wrong side of your quilt. Here's my other half. This is the other half that you have to pretend is actually sewn together, even though it's not. Okay, we'll stick a couple pins in here. And again, if maybe you're doing the 8-inch and maybe you feel more comfortable, you can put tape on the edge and make sure that the backing fabric is nice and tight. Then you will place your quilt right on top of that. And again, put the safety pins right in the middle of each of these blocks. And I say in the middle because once you pick this up and you take it to the sewing machine, you're going to put the clear invisible monopoly thread in the needle and also in the bobbin. And you're going to choose a serpentine stitch, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. It's just a gradual meandering curvy stitch, and you will stitch in the ditch of each of these. And with that invisible thread, you really can't see it. And it's almost to the point where I wish you could see it because I'm going to try and show it to you.
But you're not going to be able to.
And you may not be able to see it all that well. But with that stitch, with the serpentine stitch, what it does is it blends right in with all the quilting on the front of your quilt between the way the stitch is and the invisible thread. And it just looks like part of the quilting on the front of your quilt. So let me go grab the bigger mystery quilt and we'll show you the back and the front. So we've had a lot of people keeping up really well, which has been exciting this year. I just love watching that. So you could probably see This is our sleeve, but you can probably see the serpentine stitch. And here it is, stitch in the ditch between each block. And then if you look at the front, it really, really blends in. It's like a miracle. It's awesome. See how much that blends in with the quilting? It just looks like it's part of it.
Really don't see it unless someone points at it and says, there it is.
Yep, there it is. You could do a stitch in the ditch if you want to. If you're using wool, I have found that the serpentine stitch helps the blocks lay flatter. So if you use wool, I would really recommend using the serpentine stitch. If you did not use wool, stitch in the ditch with a straight stitch will be fine for you. But that's how you do it. And there you can see the serpentine stitch. And again, see, you can barely see it with that monopoly visible thread. So yeah, so that is, I think we've kind of gone over all of us. Very quick and easy. Hopefully you'll find the instructions helpful. And you'll find a quilt label in there as well.
Awesome.
So does that wrap up Mystery Quilt this year?
It does.
All right.
Wow.
I think I'm going to finish this.
Yeah, you better.
Well, yeah. And I think it's going in my bedroom.
That would be perfect.
Yeah. So,
whatever.
Whatever.
Don't worry, you guys can make one too.
That's right. A lot of you have been, and you've been keeping up.
Yeah. Okay. Here's
So-
a good question from Terry. So
Okay.
say you're going to put a sleeve on it. At what
Okay.
point would you add the sleeve?
I would add the sleeve prior to putting the binding on. And I think I've got a sleeve on this one. Yes, we do. So
here, let me.
yeah, we'll go back over to here. So Terry, as you can see, here's the sleeve for the bigger one, and it is tucked underneath where the binding is. But the fun thing about this is where the sleeve is here is right in the seam allowance for where the border is. So that is a great
Hidden.
time to use that little cheater method on sleeves. And I don't know, we probably have instructions on that somewhere. Maybe we can get them out there again. But yes, put the sleeve after you get your backing on and you do all of your stitch in the ditch, then you can put your sleeve on and then your binding. So that's the scoop. Any more questions out there?
I don't think so. I think we've got them all answered. Okay. Wait. Can you use clips instead of pins?
For joining the blocks together, I would say you have to have pins. Clips for binding, that's kind of a personal preference thing too.
We don't ever. She never does.
Yeah, I don't even use pins for binding, but yeah, but when you're joining the blocks together, you're going to need to use pins and you're going to want to use that pinning technique that we showed you.
Look at this is just a nice comment I to share with you.
Oh, so happy. This is your first one. All right, Loretta, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. We have fun during Mystery Quilt time.
It was also Mary's first
Aw,
mystery
great.
quilt. So
Thank
that's
you.
exciting too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So couple things. We did not have a week 3 ticket claimed.
Really?
And we gave instructions in the beginning that we would wait 4 days. It's been a lot longer than 4 days. So we're going to draw a replacement week 3 ticket and a week 5
great.
today.
Okay.
So we're going to do that right now. The other thing that I want to mention is the mystery quilt price is going up. I think end of day today.
Yep.
So at the end of today, if you didn't participate in mystery quilt because you just had to know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm
get
not
it.
doing it.
I get it. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's
so
scary.
But everyone who did it had a really great time. But I will say, if you are, now that you've seen it and all that good stuff, you might want to get it today before the end of day, because it is going to go up to $120. It's $94. It's been $94 since our launch week and all throughout, but now it's going up to the 120. So if you were been on the
now
fence,
or never.
now,
well,
now
not
or
never.
more, now or pay
now
more.
or more. Yeah.
So yeah, just know that. The second thing or third thing, I guess, is we do have, and we'll have Nina, if you could drop that link to order if you have not. And then the other link that we'll have Nina drop is our registration link for Poppies and Petals, which is our brand new workshop happening this Wednesday and Thursday. You guys are going to love this.
Oh my
quilt.
goodness. Yes.
I'm going to give you a hint.
Yes.
It's a 3-block wall hanging.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Designed by Sarah and workshopped by me and Annie. So, okay.
We got this.
All right. Let's draw 2 tickets today, Nana. Okay. There's the one. Okay. This one is actually just was a download only person. So I have your name.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because they don't know their ticket number.
They didn't get a physical
Okay.
ticket, but download people did get a ticket in the bucket.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know if she's on, but we will get a hold of you, Miss.
Yeah. So pay attention if you did a download only.
Yeah.
Not a physical order.
Well, they're all, the mystery quilt was all download, but if you didn't get
Yeah.
anything shippable, you
Right.
just got mystery quilt. But this is the winner is Mary Thomas. Mary Thomas. And we know that because she was a download only. So we wrote her name on it. So we don't even need a ticket number. Miss Mary Thomas, congratulations.
Congratulations.
So we'll get a hold of you. You've just won $100 in Hoop Sisters store credit. And you might be able to spend it later this week when we have
that's
something
awesome.
else going on. All right,
Now,
one
this
more.
is
This
the
is
week 3 replacement.
week 3 replacement.
Okay.
Okay. And this one had shippable physical ticket in hand. And the number is, let me try to type. Maybe you could type
Okay.
it carefully.
All right, here we go.
While I say it. 634. Did you get that? Okay. 1006. That's it. 634-1006. This is our week. Wait, this was our replacement or our week 5? I don't know.
This
We
is
did
our
2
week
today.
3 replacement.
Week
that
3
did not
replacement.
get
Okay.
claimed.
Okay.
All right. So if you are Mary or you are the person with that number, you are to contact Nina Gladden.
Yep. And Mary, we know you're the winner. If you got the,
We will find you.
yeah, and we will. I'll take a picture and post this in our VIP
Mhm.
Facebook group as well. But there goes another $200 in Hoop
Yeah.
Sisters store credit.
That's awesome.
So,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
and that's a wrap on the 2025
It is. It
mystery
is.
quilt. So
Oh.
exciting.
Kind of a letdown.
What?
Yeah.
You don't want it to be over? Don't
No,
worry. You
it's
have
fun.
2 more lives with me this week.
That's true. That's true.
So come back later this week. Make sure that you get registered
Mhm.
so that you get an adorable 3D butterfly
Very
is the registration gift this time
Mhm.
around. I don't think there is the name of the quilt right now. It's just the 2025 mystery quilt.
Right. I know it was that Joan asking because
No, it was Deb Randall.
Okay. Joan had asked on Facebook, I think I saw that this morning, what the name of it is. I haven't discussed this with you, but I think we need a contest.
I hadn't discussed this with you, but I thought we needed a naming contest.
We need a naming contest. We're just pull things out of our hat as we go. That's okay.
Yeah.
So is that another whoever picks the
Whoever we pick, maybe we'll do like
we
$50 in store credit.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So send in we'll post something.
Yeah. How about this?
Yep.
This is how we'll do it. It'll be a post in our VIP Facebook group. If you are not in the VIP Facebook group, you should get in there. We'll have Nina drop the link to the VIP Facebook group as well. If you're just not on Facebook, you can maybe email Nina a name and we'll have Annie pick what name she likes the best. We'll have to come up with a deadline of when to send them in by.
Let's just make it by Friday.
Okay, this Friday, which is the 27th of June. So Friday, June 27th, by end of day. Make sure you have gotten in the Facebook group, commented on the post, or if you're not on Facebook, email Nina a name suggestion. Okay.
Yeah.
You're naming the mystery quilt for 2025.
Yes.
We'll send out an email.
It's
We're
nameless.
just making it up as we go.
Right.
We got to name it.
Right now, its name is 2025 Mystery Quilt.
Yeah.
It needs a name.
Needs a name. So help us. Help us name it. Karen, it's your ticket number. No way. Okay.
That's great.
So Karen, what you need to do is take a picture of your ticket and email it to Nina. And once you do that, we'll confirm it's a winning ticket and we'll put $100 in your account.
Yeah. Then she can come back Wednesday and check out Poppies and Petals.
Oh yeah. You're going to love
Yep.
it. Okay. So if you like 3 black wall hangings, join us for the Poppies and Petals workshop this Wednesday and Thursday.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
I think we did it. That's a
We
wrap.
did. Yep.
Okay.
That's great. That was fun. Thanks
It
for
was.
joining us this year with Mystery Quilt.
Bye.
Bye.